Title: The Mantra Tantras of Sandhya Vandanam Gayatri Avahanam. Background: TSV is not about language. It is about using our brain, breathing and thoughts to influence our body and keep us synchronized and balanced with the natural flow of events and thereby become part of the evolutionary process, without pain. It is an exercise to feel happy and contented at all times and remain in that blissful state forever in life and death. Hence, there is no doubt that it is required for kids, young and the middle-aged. I believe with no scientific evidence that exercising our mind continuously, consistently, but without overrunning it, would keep diseases such as Alzheimer's at bay. In fact, any mental recitation that is done daily would help to keep such diseases away for a long time. Hence, middle-aged and elderly should make it a habit to do TSV. Gayatri Avahanam, what does it mean? When we completed the pranayama in a mind-breathing synchronized way, we have tamed the body and mind. We are ready to invoke that Savitra, that self-propelling one that ignites the sun, which I mapped to nuclear fusion, in our mind to manifest it as our self-confidence. Self-confidence is not the confidence with which we do a task. It is the confidence with which we take a result of the task, assimilate and accept it, and proceed as usual. We will be truly self-confident only when we learn to accept any results as they are, and further work on them to evolve ourselves. With that self-confidence, we will become part of the process of creation and evolution mentally. We will develop the ability to feel free, in spite of all the troubles that surround us. But what is the essential characteristics to invoke self-confidence that enable us to accept all the results as one and same? That is to develop the ability to remain neutral at all times. From where do we learn how to remain neutral? That is from Gayathri. That is why we do Gayatri Avahanam, which means inviting Gayathri into us. Gayatri Avahanam, the mantra part. Recite the following mantra. Ayatviti Anuvakasya Vamdev Rishihi, touch the forehead. Anushtup Chandaha, touch the nose. Gayatri Devta, touch the middle of chest. Ayatu, you to reach, you to attain, Viti, this path, Anuvakasya in this passage. Vamdev, the force of Vama, RSI, originator. You to attain this path in this passage, the force of Vama is the originator, which is delivered in one shot, and the destination is the creation of matter and beings, Gayathri. Vamdev, electromagnetic force nourisher. I had mapped the 11 Rudras to 11-dimensional force fields in my blogs on Rudra. According to my understanding of Aitareya Upanishad, these 11 forces evolved from the Atma, 1. Force that originates from Amba, the primordial matter. I map it to force that causes scalar boson that gives mass dubbed Higgs boson, Vaka expression, 2. Force of dark matter on matter, which I had surmised that influences the spin property of matter, Agnir fire. 3. Strong force gluons, Prana, Vayu, quark gluon plasma. 4. Electromagnetic force, mediated by photons, CMB, Aksi Chaksu Arka. 5. Gravitational force, Karnao, earlobe-like force. 6. Force that creates the charge and hence the differentiation in nucleons, Hridaya, protons and neutrons. 7. Strong force of mesons that bind the protons and neutrons, Manasa mesons. 8. Weak force that originates radioactive decay and hence death and separates the leptons, i.e. electrons, Chandrama, the satellite particle leptons. 9. Force that drives the formation of elements, compounds and polymers, Zizna, rod-like structures, polymers. 10. Force that originates acidic medium that provides energy to metabolism, Reta, semen, that holds the sperm, Soma, nucleic acids. 11. Force that originates alkaline medium that evolves biological life, Apa, the sperm, alkaline compounds that carry intelligence. Our Shastras say there are 5 important forces of Shiva. They are Ishana, Purusha, Aghora, Vamadeva and Sadyojata. 5 forces of Shiva on matter. Ishana, the force acting on Amba, the primordial matter, and gives mass to the primordial matter and converting it to matter. Science says Higgs bosons, dubbed as the God particle, causes mass. Ishana means the commanding force. This is the force that makes matter express outside and hence causes the Vagisa. Purusha, which I map to dark matter, influences the spin property of this matter and causes Agni or fire on this Amba, raising its heat internally, concealed, thus kick-starting the evolution. Purusha means one that causes the dawn, or kick-starts the evolution. Purusha influences the spin property of matter. Aghora is the strong force that binds the quarks and creates all matter particles from this heated-up primordial matter. This causes the Vayu quark gluon plasma, which is the carrier of all metabolism in the universe. Ghora is one who has no proper form and shape. Aghora means one who has a form and shape. Aghora is the junction of matter and primordial matter. It is the place at which matter dissolves into primordial matter, or primordial matter rejuvenates into matter. Vamadeva is equivalent to the electromagnetic force mediated by photons, and that creates arca radiation from the heat. Vamadeva means one that diffuses/ejects and spreads everywhere, nourishing. One that diffuses/ejects and spreads everywhere. Vamana is derived from this as one that has long or infinite reach. Vama also indicates a female breast as it diffuses milk and feeds growth as the electromagnetic force does. Thus, Vama is the nourisher and preserver. The relic of the electromagnetic radiation that evolved during origins of universe is present as cosmic microwave background, CMB, in the universe. Hence, Vama is also used to indicate spent. Sadhyojatas are set of forces that operate in the immediate vicinity, they envelope around, and are hence the Varuna. They do not have a long range or field. Sadhya means immediate. Jashita means born. Sadhyojashita means those that are born in the immediate vicinity. The force that arises due to charge property of matter, the weak force that holds the electrons in their shells around nucleus and cause radioactive decay, death, forces that drive the evolution of chemical compounds, polymerization, acidic and alkaline medium etc., are examples of Sadhyojata. The Sadhyojata are the creators of mortal matter and beings. Science says that there are four fundamental forces, viz., strong force, electromagnetism, gravitation, and weak force. Currently, according to science, the interaction between dark matter and matter is not clear, while I map that dark matter influences the spin property of matter, which is the force of Purusha that acts on matter, which is called Shiva. Shiva the Atanarishwara. Shiva is seen as half male and half female, as Shiva is the force of Purusha, the dark matter male or Namba, the primordial matter female. This force, according to my interpretations, influences the spin property of matter, thereby inducing electromagnetism, which nourishes the entire universe, including its matter and beings. Since Shiva is depicted as Purusha on the right and Amba on the left, and it is Amba from which the electromagnetic radiations originate, Vyama also indicates left. 5 forces of Shiva and 12 names of Vishnu. Kesava, the primitive string, is acted on by the very Atma and becomes the Narayana. The Narayana is peacefully meditating or remains in silent bliss and is called Madhava until acted on by the force of Rudra and woken up. Ishana, force that causes Vagiza, expression. The force I map to Higgs field, mediated by Higgs boson, dubbed as God particle, acts on Madhava, the string with Atma that is deeply meditating, silent, and causes the Govinda, the one that seeks the evolution. Thus Madhava becomes Govinda. Govinda acquires the 3 gunas, Sattvic, Rajas, Tamas, which I map to spin, charge and mass, and becomes Vishnu. Purusha, force that causes Agni, heat, the force I map to dark matter, acts on Vishnu, the one that is working, that has the property of mass, spin and charge, influencing its spin property, Sattvic property, and causes this fire. Thus the Vishnu becomes Madhusudana, becomes active, slayer of inaction, by forming quarks and leptons, fermions, out of this heat. The Vishnu, the primordial matter with differentiating spin property, half spin, gives rise to 3 Vikrama, the 3 generations of fermions, with half spin. Aghora, the strong force mediated by gluons and mesons, binds the quarks, gluons forming protons, and also the Vamana, binding protons and neutrons by mesons, thus forming the nucleus. Thus it moves Trivikrama, quarks to Vamana, nucleons. The nucleons thus formed acquire the property of radiation and thus become Sridhara, the one which is the basis of all matter, materials in the universe. Vamdev, the electromagnetic force, mediated by photons, radiates the energy of nucleons, thus forming the basis of further evolution. It moves the Sridhara, the one that supports mortal matter, to Hrishikesa, the polymer molecules, e.g. RNA, on which evolve senses and consciousness. From this polymerization of molecules, beings with open navel or Padma Nabha are born. These are beings where their DNA is not bound in a nucleus and is open. Science calls them prokaryotes. Sadhyojata, the forces that operate in near vicinity, drive the evolution of biological beings further. It evolves the Padmanabha, the beings with open navel, the prokaryotes into Damodhara, beings with stringed rope around the navel. Damodhara means those with roped, stringed navel. Dama, rope, string, dhara, navel. Such beings have their DNA enclosed in nuclear membrane and are called eukaryotes. Who is Gayathri? As seen above Vamdev, the electromagnetic force is the nourisher, preserver as well as originator of beings. Hence Vamadeva is the Rishi for Gayathri. But who is Gayathri? Gayathri is the one originated by Vamdev, the electromagnetic force. Science says, photons are the quanta of this electromagnetic force. Or in other words, photons are the particles that carry this electromagnetic force. According to science, photons are massless, electrically neutral, have a spin of 1, not half spin. They are the only known gauge bosons that are completely neutral. Mahanarayana Upanishad says, Gayatri Chanda is the Paramatma Swarupam, manifestation of Paramatma. It also says Gayatri is the intimate union or communion, junction point of Paramatma with mortal beings. Science says photons are the source of life in this universe and connect the matter and beings. Gayatri, the completely neutral photon. We recite the following mantra. Ayatu Varada Devi, Aksharam Brahma Samhitam, Gayatri Chandasam Matedam Brahma Jushaswame. Ayatu, to Reha, Varada Devi, feminine force that grants. Aksha, one that passes through. Penetras, which I mapped to electromagnetic force in my blogs on Rudra. Aram, readily, suitably, swiftly. Aksharam, swiftly passing through force. EM force. Brahma, first created or creation process. Sammitam, equal to. Gayatri Chandasam Mate, manifesting as Mother Gayatri. Idam, here. Brahma, first create. Jusa, devoted to Asva, neutral or having no property or a balance of 3 gunas, me, in me. Ayatu Varada Devi, to reach this feminine force that grants. Aksaram Brahma Sammitam, the EM force equal to the creation or creator. Gayatri Chandasam Mate, manifesting as the Mother Gayatri, Idam Brahma Jusa Aswame, here create the devotion to being neutral in me. To reach, attain this feminine force that grants the EM force equal to the creation that manifests as Mother Gayatri, let it create the devotion to being neutral in me. We pray to Mother Gayatri which grants us the EM force. Science says photons mediate the force or force carriers to develop the property of being completely neutral in us. Why? Invoking Gayatri, the neutral photon, to become neutral in our mind. It is simply because Gayatri is nothing but the photon that mediates the electromagnetic force, and science says that this photon is the only particle known in the world to be completely neutral in every way, with zero mass, zero charge and spin of 1 integer. Even the gluons, the other gauge bosons, are color-charged, and this photon is nothing but the light we receive from the sun. It is the cosmic microwave background that is present in the universe everywhere. So we invoke this Mother Gayatri, the photon, that is the reason for life of everything in this world, to develop the property of being completely neutral in us. No wonder this invocation is associated with sun, as sun is the source of these photons for us in earth. This is beauty of Vedas. They integrate science with our life, consciousness with matter, make us learn from subatomic particles to fellow intelligent beings. Inviting Gayatri, Savitri and Saraswati. We recite the following mantras next. Ujosi, Sahosi, Balmasi, Brajosi, Devanam Dhamanamasi, Viswamasi, Viswayu Sarvamasi, Sarvayu Abhipuram, Ujosi, that is energy, Sahosi, that is endurance, Balamasi, that is strength, Brajosi, that is illuminance, Devanam Dhamanamasi, that is the force indeed for super-intelligent beings, Viswamasi, that is everywhere in the universe. Viswayur Sarvamasi, in the universe, that is the life of everything. Sarvayur Abhibhur Om, every life in biological domain, planets and matter domain, AUM, the model of universe. This Gayatri, the photon, is the energy, endurance, strength, illuminance force that creates intelligent beings, remains everywhere in universe, as CMB, life of everything in the universe including matter and biological beings. Next, Recite the following mantra: Gayatrim Avahayami, Savitrim Avahayami, Saraswatim Avahayami. Gayatrim Avahayami, I invite the Gayathri into me to develop the property of being neutral. Savitrim Avahayami, I invite the Savitri into me to develop the property of self-propelling, self-drive, self-confidence. Saraswatim Avahayami, I invite the Saraswati into me to develop the property of fast movement, changes, knowledge. That is, we invite that Gayathri, the photon, to come into us and help us be neutral. We invoke the Savitri to raise our self-confidence and drive ourselves. We invoke the Saraswati, Saras, fast-moving and hence knowledge is called Saraswati, to acquire the property of accommodating to fast movements and changes. Gayatri Avahanam, the Tantra part. Mahanarayana Upanishad goes on to say, Yadahanat kurite papam tadahanat pratamyusyate, Yadaratriyat kurite papam tadratriyat pratamyusyate, which means that this alone, of being neutral in our mind, can save us the sins that we do in the days and nights. It is no wonder that we, being neutral in our thoughts, remain unbiased in our life, remain massless, chargeless and buoyant forever, is the way to remain happy. That's why people doing TSV, understanding it, remain blissful all their life, without worries, as our thoughts influence our perceptions and state of mind. Positive thinking, if you want to call it that way, TBT.